body of the policy, that's all.
Any other discussion? A motion was made by Commissioner Poling that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the facility and shelter rental policy permitting legal revision, seconded by Commissioner Ayers. Roll call?
Ayers?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Poling?
Yes.
Solosky? Yes. Steins?
Did we close all questions?
Yes,
No,
She
because
has
I still had, other comments in regards to this, but, you ran into a hole, I still had questions.
Oh, you didn't hear me then.
No, I not, because I was asking that before, you need to speak up, please. And you talk to the wall over there, but you don't talk down here.
So,
I think, maybe the mic should be brought back in. I suggested that before, and, for some odd reason,
If anyone wants to be discussion, you want discussion?
sure, nobody's stopping you.
gotta continue.
Did you have something else you'd like to add?
Not at this point, since the vote's already been established.
Just again, discussion.
Okay, in regards to the policy, since we're going to open this back up, why are we restricting time allotments in regards to use of the facilities? You say during winter months, everything's shut down?
What do you?
In regards to the policy writing and so forth, you
What page
had,
are you referring to?
you posted about having people post the usage of the park facility.
What page are you referring to?
Let's see if I can pull it up here. There's a specified month of shutting down, not accepting any facility rentals.
That's in regards to the shelters.
That's what I'm
The
talking
outdoor,
about.
the outdoor
Yeah,
shelters.
exactly what I'm talking about. Facilities should be, looked at and being available all year round, regardless of what the temperatures are out there. In winter time, you have uses, people are looking for use of shelters, but why are we shutting down opportunities?
We were just following what we've currently done as a past practice.
Well, I think it's
And
best
that's what we're
practice,
looking
like I
at
said.
because of the fact that like on
Puts us in a
weekends,
position where we're
I
at right
understand,
now with
but-
the facility.
on weekends, that you'd have to look at the cost and then raising the fees per weekend from that. So that's not been evaluated at this point. Because if it were to snow on somebody wanting to have their shelter reservation, then we would be responsible for clearing it for permitting them to be under it. And we're saying it's.
Well, don't you do that regardless of
No,
whether
we
you
do
have the ice skating out there?
No, we do not.
Yes, you do.
We do not shovel all the properties.
You snowplow the routes.
I didn't say we didn't snowplow some of the
That's
properties.
shoveling.
We do not
Yeah.
shovel. Okay.
I gotta play with words.
Any other discussion? Should we redo the roll call or just
Sure.
pick up where we left?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Probably should wait for Jan. So anybody else have anything else to say?
The point is, we're trying to get this facility utilized for the citizens of this community. And it seems like we're working on policies to hamper our citizens from using our park facility. And it kind of irks me on that. Why we keep on proceeding on, oh, we don't want to put this in, we don't have time. We have to make time and make these policies work for everybody. And get the best bang out of this park district. I don't know why, the reason why we're going to be sidestepping these matters.
Is just so, Cheryl, you said about the shelters open in the winter, they're just not, under this policy, able to rent? Is that what the question is?
Well, I know
Page
specifically the
three.
Lions shelter at Village Green. I know that the bathroom shut down after Labor Day, for a variety of reasons,
Okay.
so.
And we also pull porta potties and we
Right.
shut down all our water aspects.
Okay.
And if you're gonna rent, you gotta.
Well, the point I'm making is that we got ice skating going on during the winter months. Shelters are there. And people want to utilize the shelter as it exists. Why are we basically restricting our residents, our taxpayers, from using that park, those facilities, as is? By instead of making a statement in this policy, we're shutting down outside facilities during whatever winter
You're
months.
looking at, I found it on page 3. If the board wishes, we can remove the April 15th through October, or April 15th through October 15th, and just have it year round. I mean, we would have to figure out what, we might have to put additional, if we had to come up with additional costs that might incur to the park district, as opposed to like any kind of clearing out of underneath the pavilion, but that's fine.
But the fact of the matter is that
They would still need-
all
they
the
would-
facilities are available to use
All are,
365.
they're open,
24/7.
we just don't have special permission to
Right,
rent
to
them.
rent
They're
them.
always
Right.
open,
That's
yes.
the difference, right?
Right.
Yes,
And
they're
we're
available
talking
for
about
rental,
rental.
but they're not closed.
Has there been any request to rent them?
That's
that-
my knowledge.
That you can go back from, or before April 15th and after October 15th, or the end of October, that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, and I can say that if those would come in, they could be submitted as a special request, and we could be looking at them on a case-by-case basis. If the facilities are open, last year, the Disabilities Committee did request that we leave the splash pad on for the Disabilities Picnic that occurs at the Village Green. That was a special request, and it was honored. If we have the availability and the ability to honor a request, there's no reason that we wouldn't.
Again, that's, back to a waiver, but if we're establishing a policy, we gotta firm this up.
Well, no, but I mean, the policy is to address general conditions. And generally, the shelters aren't used in the winter months. They're available to be used, but they're not rented out.
Well, the thing is, when you set up a policy, you're still hampering the citizen.
Well, it doesn't
By,
hamper
by enforcing this back on their lap, stating that those facilities are not available, and that's our policy. And
This
that's
doesn't
why
say
I'm-
that.
That's why I'm looking at clearing it off the policy itself, where we should have our availability of our parks year-round.
Well, the parks are available. just
No.
different-
I'm saying when a person wants to rent the facilities, availability.
Would we rent a facility, we'll use the Village Green as an example, the bathrooms are shut down,
They would be shut down still.
and someone wants to use it, would we,
The conditions would be that they would have to understand there'd be no restroom facilities.
Exactly.
Or they pay to,
Or they have to pay for the extra cost. Well,
Is
I wouldn't even say
it-
open them up, they
it's
might
not
have to pay for a porta john rental. Because it would not be, only because of the fact that there's not heating within the facility wall next to it.
Like I said, I'm talking about special winter events. Somebody wants to get established, we, leave those doors open and available to our parks.
We haven't closed the, I mean, we haven't closed the doors, we wouldn't leave the bathroom doors open if that's what we're referring to. But if we're referring to the availability, I said, we can open it to, and then when we're figuring out our fee costs, we can just put that as. I understand, that's what I'm saying, is we can put in, we can eliminate the reservation period and just put, and leave it as in reservation, we can keep with the facility for private are available, are, have to be 4 months prior, or we'd have to set a time, I'm sorry, that's the indoor, was up to 4 months prior. So we would just have to say, we would probably need a certain time during certain months, maybe that anything between October 16th and April 14th must be made within a 2-week window. So you can't make it within, you can't come in the day before like we would normally take a shelter reservation. We would take one within a day or two beforehand. We can't do that here because there might be certain provisions that need to be made to make it accommodable. We're amenable, the staff would be amenable to that. Do we want to make a motion for amendment, or are we leaving it as is? Because there's no motion on the floor right now, but as is.
We would have to amend it for,
You can make a motion, right now we have a motion on the floor to pass it as is. If you would like to make a motion to amend it to that, then you can make such
Well, I
motion.
agree with that, motion okay, where, the facilities are runnable all year-round.
Is there a second?
is there a second on that motion? Oh, yeah, no, there's no second on that, so the original motion is still
Just
on.
to pass as, or pass as,
So,
no second motion.
a motion was made by Commissioner Poling that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the facility and shelter rental policy permitting legal revision, and seconded by Commissioner Ayers. Any other discussion? No. Roll call.
Ayers,
Yes.
Ludeman,
Yes.
Newton,
yes.
Poling, yes, Pulaski, yes, Stein.
Nay.
Motion carries. We're on to item B. A motion that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of a veneer BC-15 brush chipper with a Tier 4i engine. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
This is an item that was on the capital improvement, or on the capital improvement list. This last year was to purchase a brand new chipper, as our old chipper is 23 years old. and beyond its life cycle, and it's worn to the point where sharpening the blades has not worked any longer. We are looking at, we had budgeted a cost of $50,000, and we, through the National Joint Powers Alliance, which is a cooperative purchase, giving you the lowest possible price, we have gotten a price of $54,895 for the said chipper. Discussion.
Any
I have some questions.
Sure.
What's the expected lifetime of the chipper? Number of hours or years or whatever? I mean, 23 years, I understand is probably exceedingly high, but how long should a chipper last? 10 years, 15 years?
I don't know if I've ever even seen a life cycle for a chipper. It's very dependent on its use.
Okay.
You know, it's almost, I think 23 years is probably pretty close.
For anything.
But it really does depend on its use. You know,
Okay.
we have used ours with the emerald bow ash and the issues we've run into lately. We have used ours quite extensively.
And then the
They
easy
have it
maintenance
go
on
out
these?
right now with the
How easy is it to maintain a chipper? I mean, you're sharpening blades, I guess, and probably doing engine maintenance and things like that, or?
You're sharpening blades, but really it's something that my maintenance shop is not equipped to do. It requires disassembly of the
Okay.
unit.
Do we do that, or have we done that with the existing?
We have, yes, sir, we have done that quite a few times. That's why we got to the point where we said we just did the blades.
Okay.
And it's still just not there. It's like the unit has sprung.
Sure.
It is just sprung out, so.
Yeah.
And we've also, just to comment, we've worked with the township and the village back and forth borrowing equipment. But it seems like after a big storm, after an incident, they're using theirs just as much as we're using ours. So it factors in a little bit, you know, having a good relationship with these people, but seems like when they need theirs, we need ours, and you just can't trade it up.
And then how about the maintenance history of Vermeer's, you know, generally, are they?
Vermeer is one of the premier manufacturers of chippers
Okay.
around.
And then this extra $5,000 paid roughly that's over the budget, where is that gonna come from?
We still have some room in the capital with some of these that have come under budgeted.
Okay.
That was the rough estimation that we received at that time.
Are there still a lot of ash trees to be ground up, or are you pretty well caught up with that?
We're not caught up, we've got a ways to go. I wouldn't say we're tremendously behind, but there is a lot of work out there to be done.
Any other discussion? Yeah, motion was made by Commissioner Solowski, seconded by Commissioner Ayers, that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of a Veneer BC 15 brush chipper with a Tier 4I engine. Roll call?
Ayers?
Yes.
Goodwin?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Poling? Yes. Solowski? Yes. Stein?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item C, seeking a motion that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the capital asset policy as presented.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
This was at the recommendation in our management letter last year from Lauterbach and Amen, who is currently our auditors, that we should have such policy in place. If, right now, this is, as presented, pretty much straight from the recommendation with legal approval, as seen this, you've gone through this too, as Matt, as well, I thought so. So, any other questions on specifics, Maureen can probably answer better than I could.
Any questions or discussion? No? Okay, a motion that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the capital asset policy as presented was made by Commissioner Poling, seconded by Commissioner Newton. Roll call?
Ayers?
Yes.
Goodwin?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Poling? Yes. Solowski? Yes. Stein?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Okay, item D, seeking a motion that the Park Board of Commissioners approve Resolution 2015-05, authorizing the acceptance of certain parcels of land.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 2015-05.
Okay.
Second it.
Okay, any discussion?
These are the properties from the county that are along the PTPD River, right by Renwick and New Road on either side. It's not all encompassing. You have your map attached as to which properties that I believe are outlined in red, the properties and through the memo. The board in last May, resolution 2014-14, accepted to accept 11 parcels. Yes, 11 parcels.
Okay, on the planning aspect, what's the proposed use of that land that we're taking on?
This was part of the plan at a point to, if, alternate bike routes, connecting some of the trails. So some of these lands, as we continue to receive them, give us other mechanisms by the Weber Road, to connect some of the DuPage River Trail and other bike routes in that vicinity.
See, Weber Road?
I'm sorry, Renwick Road, my fault. It's not close to Renwick, or Weber. I live off
I knew
Renwick,
what you meant.
so close.
So we're expanding out.
Yep.
Okay, my question would be considering, what plans do we have besides,
Right
I
now-
can see how you can put a path through this, general vicinity right now, the way it exists, even now or in the future.
In talking to the, I can just tell you, some of this was done before I started here, so I'm just going off of what the plans were. Looking at what the village is looking to do, they're looking to extend a pathway down the north side of Renwick Road that would go past the front of our park at Renwick Park all the way down. We are talking to them, if it could be a multi-use path, this can connect to that portion as well, in the same way.
Where's this gonna, let's say if you had a proposal.
We don't have all the land right here, this was accepting these portions of land, because on the, just to the south of this is the old Renwick Road Bridge, that we can open discussion once we connect more of this along the line.
Because like I said, again, I see it on the north side, but coming out on the other side of the bank, you go to north.
The aerial photo might be a little bit deceptive in that this is an older photo and Renwick Road has been improved. Yeah, if you kind of look to the east side, you'll see Renwick Road coming in. It actually turns and sort of touches the red properties to the south.
I know where that
Yeah.
is at.
It is a little confusing because you see the bridge and it throws you off a little bit on that, so.
And where's the path supposed to be projected?
The path projected, we're crossing currently north of this, so you've got Renwick Park just to the east of there. There has been some talk, I think, with the county and the village of possibly reusing the existing bridge that's out there sometime in the future to connect up another pedestrian path.
Okay, I know the bridge, and
Yep.
now you're coming across on the new land that's being proposed here.
You
You
could,
come into River Road, and where you go from there.
you could, like I said, this is all a brand new piece of property to us. They are talking about improving Renwick Road and putting a bike path along the north end side of it. As that loops in, it could possibly tie into the two large red pieces that show up now as being north of the Renwick Road on
Well,
here.
Renwick Bridge is brand new, and you're talking about this is the old partial.
Yeah, this is the old
So
piece.
if you're saying that the village is gonna build a new sidewalk on Park District property,
No, along Renwick Road. That
Okay.
road is currently slated for improvement in front of Renwick Park. That whole roadway is slated for improvements with a bike trail. So coming in, they're slated for improvements that would then tie that pathway into the bridge that is the new Renwick Bridge.
so you have to come crossing over on River Road
Yes,
somewhere.
you would have to cross it for River Road somewhere. But it would still tie up that other piece.
So I'm mixed up now. The path would come across the old bridge or the new bridge?
The old bridge.
The old bridge, the
Yes.
one,
That was
the
one that
one
they had
lane
talked
bridge.
about in the past. I
Okay.
don't know where it exactly is, but it is on one of the plans.
I don't know where
if
many
the
times before they
conversations,
changed
but on
it.
some of the DuPage River Trail plans, they have talked about reusing that
I
existing
see.
old
I
bridge
got you.
as a pedestrian
Makes
crossing.
sense.
Okay, on this other portion of property, just further in the corner on River Road, north of Renwick,
Okay,
what is the use of that property?
that property that is north of Renwick Road north of Renwick,
On River
West
Road,
of
making
River
a bend on,
that's currently a residence, and I don't think they've sold.
No, you're talking about the corner, the top corner portion?
if you know.
Like, two of the properties are on the south
Oh,
and
the two pieces to the,
to the north.
currently, I don't know which plans.
And,
would be.
There was alternate bike routes at one point to go down through on the south side of the bank.
Okay, in this case here, is that a definite thing? I'm just saying, is that, are we
Is
picking
it
a
a definite
property
thing?
that's
No, not to
gonna be
require
used?
the different lands. We're just looking at the different lands that would be available and so that we can have alternate routes. That's how this, I believe this project, and if anybody on the board can elaborate, was initially put in progress.
It was all part of a flood grant,
Ah,
that this land be acquired and.
So in this case here, we pick up this property and what's our village township agreement in regards to the land itself? Do we have to, can we let it grow over or do
No,
we have to maintain it?
We would have to maintain it, we'd have to mow it.
So it's gonna cost us
Just
money
let it-
just on the lot. That's, we don't know in the future if we're gonna be using it or not.
Well, eventually, originally when this was proposed, it was a FEMA grant to Will County to buy up floodplain with this grant money, and then Will County, once they acquired it, would dedicate it to us. And the original thought process was if there were these not connected parcels, they could potentially become little areas for fishing docks or little boat launch areas and things. Right.
Unfortunately, if you know that area well, pretty difficult to come off the curb and even set up any kind of fishing dock or, getting to the location because you'd be crossing over private properties in that area, and that river road is very fast, very busy, where there's been numerous accidents around that bend there. So I'm saying for, logical and, reasonable thoughts of safety for the public and us taking on that partial of land around the corner, I can't see how it's gonna benefit our community.
Well, that particular piece eventually might connect with those centerpieces if those residents decide they're tired of floods and want to take advantage of the opportunity to sell to the FEMA flood grant program. I don't know if it has an expiration date. I can't recall.
I think it's passed on it.
Yeah, yeah, these are already been demolished, so they're just
Right.
looking for somebody to take ownership of them.
Actually, houses are still existing in that area.
Yeah, a couple of them, right?
Any other discussion?
I was approached by a couple of Lions Club members who were interested in possibly putting up a shelter of some sort on those two southern orange blocks, or red blocks, whichever. Has anybody discussed that with you? Okay, I'll
Is
make
that
sure
recent?
It's fairly recent, yeah.
Okay.
They knew that these properties were gonna be transferred one way or the other from the township to somebody else, and they thought logically would be us, and they've got money to build a shelter of some sort, so.
I can bring it up because I attend that.
Oh, okay, right, well, just make sure that they get in touch with you then.
And there's some really nice
Yeah,
landscaping and stuff already into those areas that the homeowners put in large trees and things.
With them being so low, I mean, those two properties are pretty, I looked at them today, and they're so really low. I mean, can we put something there?
you can put a
Without-
shelter, but you can't get anything below grade.
Okay.
No, like I said, it
No
comes down to,
facilities, I'm sorry,
Okay.
no facilities in there other than can be used like for open space and things like that. Like shelter, fine.
well, like I said, accessibility, that's my concern about, is it really worth, taking on the added responsibility of maintaining property that we can't really utilize to its fullest. And like I say, get the best, for our taxpayers out there, in regards to, the land floods, unless we got a master plan, master development ahead of time, regardless of what we're gonna use this property for, I can't see going into this until we had something up, sketched out and put down, besides, a walking path that nobody was aware about it, or couldn't come through because of our properties being blocked off. So, and us taking on the land, now we gotta maintain it, cutting grass and so forth, and, keeping it clean, and like I said, for our residents' purposes, I can't see how it's gonna, be useful, to our community.
Well, I see it as useful as maintaining green space on a riverfront. It's aesthetically pleasing, it's open area that potentially could provide a canoe launch, a picnic shelter, a bike path, various things like that.
Is that projected
It was
in
there,
the development? Do we have models of what it's supposed to look like?
not yet.
At the current time, we do not have any set design for these park
No,
parcels.
they said we're supposed to be, well, I'm part of the development committee, I haven't seen nothing being brought to,
No, these, I
brought
just
up
said,
to
these
speed.
haven't been. That's what I just answered.
Yeah.
Because we're just now acquiring them.
So these other 11 parcels that we accepted last year, those are adjacent to?
Not all.
No, they're spread throughout the.
I received on Weller and Bentley. Weller would be up on the north side of the
No,
connect,
yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
yeah, by Riverside Park.
That was off of Naperville.
Naperville, yeah, I was gonna say, it's got connection points over
And
there.
135th Street.
Oh, yeah. And then, Bentley is down south that connects,
From-
it's part, yeah, it's part of the land that we would, when you're moving further south on the DuPage River, this is potential that right now, all you have is Brown Prairie Farms that would sit almost between the development of connecting the Riverside Parkway pathway and the Sunset Trail pathway that are all part of the DuPage River Trail.
And when this was originally presented to the board, for the benefit of those of you that weren't here then, because the only ones that are still are myself and Commissioner Newton, the land is being given to us through this grant, and it's riverfront property for the purposes of our recreational uses that we might see fit uses for it
Or has
eventually.
uses.
Right. And this program started, I want to say, several years ago.
Okay, now you're saying for building structures and, I'm looking at the usability of the property. You talk about boat launches and so forth, or some sort of unique parking. Are we allowed to put, asphalt parking or concrete parking out there on this land? Do we disturb it? Take away the green land? I'm not sure, that's, what plans do we have, for future development on this?
No, you could put, yeah, that.
Asphalt's not considered a permanent.
Right. It's just not, they don't want permanent structures out there, i.e. a building. Right.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, so a motion was made by Commissioner Newton and seconded by Commissioner Ayers that the Park Board of Commissioners approve Resolution 2015-05. Roll call?
Ayers?
Yes.
Lindeman?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Poling? Yes. Solosky? Yes. Stein?
Nay.
Motion carries. Okay, now we're up to item old business, item 13. Composting.
Just to follow up on some of the questions, and I'll give more to Gene. This is his topic of training. When we talked about last month asking, or we have followed up with our staff who are out there on special training requirements, making sure they know what elements are available to them, gloves, goggles, et cetera, and going through some of that aspect. And then one of the questions was to look at, get architectural approval to see about composting sites. And as Gene has gone through it, and I'll let him expand in a second, right now we received a quote from ERA, who we're currently using for other projects. It would be $29.50 for them to go through the two sites, both the Equestrian Center and Four Seasons. Because one of the things that would have to happen by EPA regulations before we were allowed to start applying for the permits, we have to have an architectural sign-off on these are appropriate areas that meet the criteria.
Archaeological.
Engineering.
No, well, engineering.
Engineering sign
I'm
off.
sorry.
To take a look at the floodplain,
Thank you.
water table
Water
levels,
table.
grading, and all that.
And then Gene can elaborate a little bit on some of the other aspects in regards to the permit hauler that he's.
We have, as Carlos said, we've looked at the safety training and so forth of the person that works at the Equestrian Center. He has been trained with videos and so forth. And as far as PPE, he's also seen, he's had skid steer training. He's had his training. We're comfortable with him. We've looked at the hauler, the hauling of the manure itself. The manure is a special permit. It's not a hazard waste or hazardous waste. It's a special waste, which basically, if you're doing the right thing, you're okay. And County Line Haulers, who does our hauling, actually takes this to their own not landfill, but composting field. So they are picking it up, they are transporting it, and they are dropping it at their property.
And they are composting it.
They are composting
That's
it.
good to know.
Yeah. The Illinois Extension Service actually in 2011 started a campaign to make it easier on special waste haulers because they were finding a lot of manure and so forth in landfills, which is something you shouldn't do. So what they've done, they've lightened up a little bit on these haulers as far as needing big money permits and so forth. So